The SCP universe is one of the largest creative writing projects to ever exist. It contains over 8,000 articles and even more short stories. Large portions of the SCP universe can be grouped into canons. These canons are a collection of stories that all come together to tell one big story. Some canons are self-contained, while others are integral to explaining the overall mythos. I'm going to cover all the listed canons, and then cover some unlisted ones I've come across. This is the default setting for the SCP universe. The Foundation is a secret, non-political organization that works with all governments to protect humanity from paranormal threats. They study and contain these threats, and only destroy them when absolutely necessary. Secrecy of the paranormal and ensuring the survival of humanity are their main goals. They are the most powerful group on Earth, and they regularly battle gods and monsters. This is where most of the SCP documents and stories take place. After an event that happened in 2020, the Foundation starts to lose control and they evacuate the planet into space. The event that caused this was SCP-3848. History exists for the memorable. SCP-3848 is a phenomenon that makes people forget things, places, concepts, whatever, and no one can fix it. It started in 2003, when 60,000 people in Wisconsin forgot what dogs were. By 2020, the Foundation had forgotten where they had locked all the monsters and how to contain them. So the Foundation said, fuck it, let's get out of here and take everyone with us. They lifted the veil of secrecy and let everybody know what was going on. They partnered with companies and groups of interest to start working on faster-than-light travel. While everyone is working on getting humanity situated in space, the Foundation is in the background looking for aliens. Now, the Foundation knows there's aliens because of the different SCPs with alien tech, yet they haven't really seen any. But holy shit, do they get an eyeful once faster-than-light travel gets finished. There's crazy space wars, cosmic beings, and random space adventures. It's a smaller-sized canon that mixes traditional space sci-fi with the SCP universe. The premise is great, and the story is laid out really well. In the Pacific Northwest, there is a high concentration of paranormal activity. Multiple anomalies and groups of interest call this place home. The Foundation established Site-64 and immediately realized regular containment wasn't going to work. They could do it, but it'd be an all-out war with multiple groups at the same time. The risk to secrecy was too great, so an uneasy deal was made. Don't endanger humanity, and we won't contain you. This canon follows the staff of Site-64 and the paranormal groups they interact with. The FBI's Unusual Incidents Unit, a laughably small group who helps the Foundation with minor anomalies and sometimes stumbles into things way above their pay grade. Wilson's Wildlife Solutions somehow convinced the Foundation to donate the wildlife to them instead of locking them up in containment cells. And Anderson Robotics, a tech company that blends magic with robotics and often disregards ethics and baseline human life. They kind of play the bad guy of the canon. Most of this canon takes place in Three Portlands. Three Portlands is a paranormal city that can only be accessed from Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon, or the Isle of Portland in the UK. The city itself is an artistic, techno-centered metropolis where a poet, a cyborg, and a modern-day wizard can share a drink. They govern themselves, the Foundation is not allowed in, and the Unusual Incidents Unit acts as the police force. Anderson Robotics is also headquartered there. This is a larger canon that focuses more on world building and groups of interest. This one is all about the Sarkic cults. They are the reigning champs when it comes to body horror in the SCP universe. The Sarkics worship the deity Yaldabaoth, who created humanity, but we were these horrible flesh monsters. At some point, the god of machines, Metkane, gave us intelligence and helped us get to the current form of humanity. The Sarkics hate this and want to take us back to the way we were. There was this huge war over this in 1100 CE, called the War of Flesh. The Sarkics lost this war and were scattered to the winds, forming isolated cults in Russia and Eastern Europe. In this canon, the Foundation assumes the cults no longer pose a threat, and they are allowed to grow undisturbed until it's too late. The attack started on August 29th. By mid-September, most of the world's leadership was dead. Top UN officials, presidents, even members of the Overwatch Command This canon is split into 4 acts. Act 1 is the setup, Act 2 is their secret rise to power, Act 3 is where it all falls apart, and Act 4 is what happens next. This is a smaller sized canon, with Act 4 not written yet, so anything can happen. Before I tell you about this canon, I have to show you the kind of vibe this page gives. It starts off with the following quote: "The human mind will always rely on one of these 3 basic descriptions to describe which they cannot fully explain themselves: magic, religion, or a science that is simply unknown to them, and never seems to make an appearance." There's a song too. It's like Halloween electro trap? I'll play some of it for you now. And then there's this cipher. So I did some research into this, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm not good at this kind of stuff. Please help. This canon mostly follows 2 Foundation employees, Dr. Stuart Hayward and Agent Sarah Crowley. It starts with them researching SCP-1903, which eventually leads them to learn about a war between heaven and hell, an entity called the Maker, and how humanity is caught in the middle. The location this canon takes place in is Site-45, Las Vegas. Site-45 is interesting because they are tasked with monitoring the demons of hell. There was a demon infestation, and the Foundation handled it by making a deal with them. So now the demons work at the casinos. The starting SCP, SCP-1903, Jackie's Secret, is such a good read, and a good intro into the canon. The characters are amazing, they're badass and fleshed out. The vibe is like cosmic horror criminal investigation, but with demons and angels. And I'm pretty sure there's some kind of Ocean's 11 style heist in there too. This is our first rabbit hole. Each article gives you more pieces of the story to put together, and takes you to another mystery after you solve the first one. This canon follows a specific group of interest: Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting. The circus has been a long-time group of interest in the SCP mythos, and has traditionally been run by Herman Fuller, known as the Ringmaster. He rules the circus with an iron fist, and has been described as sadistic. But in this canon, Herman Fuller is gone. It's meant to be a mystery, super vague, with different people speculating on what could have happened to him. The new Ringmaster is a clown named Icky. She is a turned clown, meaning she was a runaway who worked her way up to the transformation into a semi-Lovecraftian circus clown. Since her takeover, the circus has gone from a villainous cult to a group of paranormal misfits, just trying to survive and make a home the best way they can. So much so that the GOC, who's like the SCP Foundation, but they kill rather than capture, they have a standing order to just leave them alone if possible. Members of the circus are mostly anomalous runaways and see themselves as a family. Once you're in, you're in. They are able to teleport and move their circus through something called the kaleidoscope. It allows them to not only move through space, but also through the multiverse. Compared to the other canons, this one is a little weird to me. I'm used to the file format, and the entries in this canon have all been short stories. So if you find the SCP documentation a little dry, this canon might be a good place to start. This one is pretty upfront. Everyone gains immortality all at the same time, even bugs and animals. The catch is that immortal doesn't mean indestructible. People still take damage and feel pain. They still need to eat and breathe. Bodies still naturally decay. It's just now their spirit or consciousness doesn't have anywhere to go. The majority of this canon focuses on how humanity, specifically the Foundation, handles the situation, and discovering how it even started in the first place. The outlook is not great, and it gets pretty dark real fast. It mostly consists of trying to die without suffering, or how to maintain a sustainable life with an immortal spirit trapped in a decaying body. They use sterilization gas for the population. The rich could get their brain transplanted into a younger body. Companies made pills that would put someone into a permanent coma. The Foundation wanted to keep all the other SCPs a secret, but as time went on, and things got weirder and more gross for humanity, it made more sense to be open with the anomalous. Eventually, like thousands of years later humanity is hibernating in some cool hypercube. There's these super sad alien things watching over humanity, and they have to reach out to the past version of us for help. It's because there's this indestructible monster, SCP-4812-K. It's eating into humanity's hypercube, and not only do no weapons damage it, but if given the chance, it will kill you, then steal your face and display it on its body, making your face talk in your voice. This is a huge canon that's well thought out. Reading this whole canon is a project. In this canon, something weird and horrible happened that took out all of humanity. The only people that survived weren't people. Sentient robots, AI, vampires, werewolves, Bigfoot, and zombies are just a few of the things that survived the apocalypse. There are three main factions in this canon: survivors of the cataclysm, the people who were brought back from the dead, and new life forms. The world itself has changed a lot, but not in the way I thought it would. Yeah, there's wasteland areas and abandoned cities, but there's also settlements and communities. They formed where humans used to be, and other communities formed out in the middle of nowhere. Everyone that would know about SCP-2000, which is the Foundation's version of loading from a previous save, is dead and long gone. Same with the Wanderer's Library. They still exist, they're just both lost to time, waiting to be rediscovered. Even though humanity gets wiped out, and it's about life after the world ends, Unhuman has more of an upbeat tone than I thought it would, and most of the material isn't doom or gloom. It's like the logistical adventures of what would happen when the outcasts start to run the kingdom. The SCP articles attached to this canon are SCP-6550, Thoroughlex the Devourer, 6801, the Promethean, the Mech, and the Omnibot, and 6060, Only Human. It's a newer series with room to grow. This canon is all about huge kaiju monsters and what the world does about them. If it's not a Godzilla-type monster, it has no business being in this canon. Huge monsters are a must. The main monster who kicked this all off is called the Croco Squid. Yeah, the Croco Squid. One of the unique aspects of this canon is there's actually 4 main timelines. Academics is a timeline where the world is saved from the Croco Squid, no other monsters appear, and people just study it. The Apocalypse timeline is exactly what it sounds like. The Croco Squid was dealt with, but the Foundation wanted to research where the monster came from, and ended up opening a portal to its home universe, releasing thousands of Croco Squids into our universe, promptly ending the world as we know it. Oddly though, the Academics timeline actually has some form of contact with this timeline. Anastasis is a timeline where Prometheus labs start studying the Croco Squid like the Foundation was, and they pretty much get the same result. But instead of cracking open the door like the Foundation did, Prometheus Labs did it with technology and magic. So instead of 1,000 Croco Squids coming out of a portal, they summoned 1,000 different species of kaiju that appeared all over the world. It's a medium-sized canon with a good mix of articles and tales that's fun to read. It's like if Godzilla was written like an Incredible Hulk comic. Resurrection is a canon that returns some of the Foundation's biggest gambles onto the front lines. As the SCP writing project grew and developed, so did the stories and stakes. Eventually, the stories got bigger, and crazier things started happening with reoccurring characters. Eventually, the story arc kind of ran its course and jumped the shark. Since then, the story started to change and grow into many different paths and canons. They started getting less over the top and more complicated and developed. This canon is an attempt at getting back to what some people argue is the best part of the Foundation. Okay, so here's the setup. Way back in the day, the Foundation needed to fight against anomalies they couldn't handle. So they started weaponizing SCPs and putting them on a mobile task force called Omega-7, Pandora's Box. The reason it was called Pandora's Box is because how effective and volatile the team was. The star of Omega-7 was Abel. Yes, Abel from the Bible. In the SCP mythos, Abel is also known as SCP-076-2, and has a very different history than what the Bible has described. Abel has a constant murderous rage and the ability to pull bladed weapons from a pocket dimension at will. He is extremely durable, and if by some miracle he is killed, he'll just respawn. The problem is that Abel is such a wild card, he's just as likely to kill the rest of the team as well as the target. And that's exactly what happened. He killed the team. The Foundation shut down the whole thing and went back to just containing SCPs. They covered up the whole project. 9 years go by, and the anomalies keep piling on, and the Foundation is losing control of the situation. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So they dust off the old files and unlock the old doors. They're bringing back Pandora's box, but now it's called MTF Alpha 9, Last Hope. So far, this canon has no actual SCP articles, just short stories, which might not be everyone's thing, but holy shit, there are some heavy hitters writing this canon. All stars. It's like if the SCP Hall of Fame got together to write a canon. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. This canon is about a group of cyborg anime cat girls and a wizard who attempt to steal a spaceship that is orbiting Jupiter's moon, Titan. You already know there's music attached to this one. There's a playlist for sure. If I can, I'll play some of it for you now. If not, here's a list of the songs on the playlist. This canon revolves around 6 main characters: Boss, Momoko, Hana, Nanami, Tomi, and Wizard. They are referenced in SCP-2085, also known as the Black Rabbit Company. The Black Rabbit Company is a militant anarchist organization that targets organized crime, hate groups, and pretty much whoever they want. For some reason, they want to take over this spaceship that's actually a mega city hidden inside. Cowboy Bebop and Guardians of the Galaxy were used to describe this canon, and I agree. There's absolutely a cyberpunk space cowboy feel to the canon. The Foundation is actually more of a side character that happens to cross paths with the real stars of the show, which honestly isn't bad, it's just surprising. It's almost like SCP fanfiction, and I kinda love it. There are 3 SCP articles in this canon: SCP-2085, the Black Rabbit Company, SCP-2117, the Stolen Solidarity, and SCP-7120, Super Ego, Stolen. The rest are tales. Some tales are set up like a movie script format, and others are straight up short stories. The tales I was most excited to read was where the Black Rabbit Company meets the Serpent's Hand, and the one that's written like a movie script. Okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna do an outro. I'll just be like, okay, bye. Okay, bye. But yeah, no, there's 45 of these things. I wanna do all of them, and then there's some hidden ones that I wanna do too. No time frame. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but that's the plan. Okay, bye.
All right, this is the best I could do. Shit.